To drive strategic decisions, you need to engage that persona and understand how they work. And what's important for CMOs is to kind of reassure the board and the teams they manage that the direction they're going in their search strategy is the right one.
Hi, this is Andy North with Velocitize Talks. Today I'm joined by Ashley Fletcher, Vice President of Marketing at Ad Dena. Ashley, thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Lovely. Tell us a little bit about Ad Dena and what your unique value proposition is in the market.
Sure. So Adthena are a unique SaaS solution. Our USP is our whole market view. So it's AI driven, and we're really driving search intelligence for enterprise solutions.
So AI has obviously blown up over the past few years. Tell us a little bit how you're using it with some of your clients.
Sure. So predominantly we focus on paid search. So with AI, we first approach the search landscape in Google with machine learning. So with that, we go with our whole market view, which is dedicated to your domain. So again, that's completely turning the industry on its head as far as keyword-based solutions, directory-based solutions that are in the market today. So we go to market with a whole market view. We would spend far more time in the Google search than any other solution on the market today. So that forms the basis of far more data to make your informed decisions on where you go with your strategy.
How has search engine marketing evolved, and where are you placing some key bets today?
So search engine marketing is constantly evolving. I think I speak to a lot of people in the industry, whether that be in clients or out on the road at trade shows or product councils and things like that. The pace of change is constant. Okay, so there's a lot of pressure on search marketers to really keep up with the pace in which Google are updating their interface in Google Ads and new functionality and things like that. Essentially, it's trying to get you faster to the consumer to solve those challenges in whether acquisition or retention. And where we fit in that is really giving you the transparency you need to make those decisions. So we're trying to bring you closer to the consumers that you're chasing through a lack of transparency. And I think what we're seeing in the industry and hearing at the moment is it is becoming a little bit more black box. So if you think about the big push on automation, things like that, it really kind of pushes a hands-off approach for search marketers to let the machine do its thing. But with that, you have a lack of control. And all of the experts that we speak to is actually we need that control back to understand where this machine's going.
Excellent. Adthena recently released a report essentially describing where CMOs are overlooking opportunities with SEM. Can you give us some of the lessons that came out of that study?
Sure. So it's a key audience for us. So again, to drive strategic decisions, you need to engage that persona and understand how they work. And what's important for CMOs is to kind of reassure the board and the teams they manage that the direction they're going in their search strategy is the right one. So we did a study of 200 CMOs across the US and the UK. And what we found is that 41% of those were overlooking their competition. Okay? In any part of their research that they do, they were not factoring in competition, how they influence their strategy. So it's quite alarming to us that they're overlooking this piece of data and research. That said, when we dug into the questions further with these CMOs, 92% agreed that the paid search is actually critical for driving their strategy. So it's a staple part of their go-to-market and their digital landscape. But they're actually overlooking what the competition and how they're influencing their strategy.
So given those opportunities, where do you see digital advertising going in the next 3 to 5 years?
So digital advertising, to me, I think you have to be active in all arenas, I think, no matter what vertical you're in, but understand at which point the customer journey fits. So for us, search is pretty critical. So again, going back to the survey data that we looked at, it's a key piece of the funnel. It's always on, it's always there. CMOs know they need to spend in this region and battle in those arenas. But really, it kind of fits to this holistic view on where that fits with all your other channels as well. And the challenge that the CMOs are facing today is really matching that holistic view and driving the value out of all of digital because it is getting very vast.
Absolutely. Switching gears to purpose-driven marketing, how important do you think it is for brands today to infuse their values in the content that they produce?
Sure. So it's very topical for us at the moment, particularly as we look at solutions in paid social as well. But again, using the word holistic and how many channels are actually active at the moment influencing your potential customers or trying to retain them, it's really key that the brand message is consistent. So again, search plays a pivotal role in ensuring that you are constant with that message. And what we see is with all of these campaigns active in the market at the moment, it's a very kind of noisy, disjointed message at times, and that can be very damaging for your brand. So trying to bring that harmony and consistency is really key, not just for those owners of the digital channels, but the consumers.
Do you think it's okay for brands to sit on the sidelines when it comes to their values?
No, I think you need to be on the front foot with that. I think you need to protect it, really care about it, get a measure in place that can really understand your brand equity and what that means to the wider audience. Again, overlooking that is very dismissive, and the cases that we see is if you just focus on acquisition and actually not the life cycle of that customer post-purchase and where they go after that is very, very limiting. So you need to influence that in all of your digital channels.
Excellent. There's been a lot of written research and marketing now around Gen Z and how different they are from the millennials as the next generation coming up of consumers. How have marketers and perhaps some of your clients successfully targeted Gen Z with digital advertising?
Sure. So very interesting persona. Again, it helps businesses and marketers, not just in digital, become more customer-centric, which I love. So Gen Z, again, no different to talking to other personas that you're trying to influence. But from the studies that we've done is, 71% of those still look at Google as that point of purchase and where they would go to really find out more, or whether they're on an education path or purchase. But what the study tells us, particularly looking at the search landscape, is they're heavily influenced by messaging. Okay, and it's not just canned sales messaging, it's a different language entirely, completely. So where we've seen our clients really succeeding this is kind of really embracing that and speaking that language. So there's a lot of terminology that comes through in ad copy studies and things like that, and that's what resonates, and that's driving click-through rates and engagement. And advertisers should embrace that and really kind of speak the language to get closer to this audience.
That's fantastic, thank you. You recently wrote a great piece on LinkedIn about the hybridization of marketing, particularly as it relates to Legos. Talk a little bit about that and the lessons that you took from simply watching your child put together a Lego person out of different blocks.
Yeah. So it was quite inspirational. I think obviously I don't want work to consume weekends and things like that, but it's hard not to at times when you're driving a strategy. So in this instance, we have a lot of Lego in our house, and I was just surprised at these hybrids that were being built, and I drew parallels as to where we're driving the marketing strategy at Adthena and things like that. So really I approached it as looking at parts of the body of a Lego man that you're building, the head, arms, body, and legs, and essentially mapping that to the marketing functions. So if you think about the core marketing functions that exist in leading SaaS businesses today, you have the strategic function. So in there you could have content and brand, you could have product marketing, and then you have the demand generation team. So in my mind, when I went through this journey, particularly at Adthena, is how all of those functions operate and build into something that may not look perfect and as per the instructions out of the box, but actually fast forward 2 years later, it looks very different, but it's still working. So I think anyone aspiring to build a strategy and drive a function, you have to be open to that, open to change. It never looks as you expected, but it will work. So take a look at the article. I enjoyed writing it, and trying to get some of my thoughts down and out into social is key, but again, sometimes time commitments permit that, but I really enjoyed writing it.
And generally they're much more fun to play with.
Yes, absolutely. yeah, and you can always change them, but they all generally fit together well.
Which parallels with marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What is it that sets Adthena apart from some of the other search intelligence companies on the market?
So I'd put it down to 5 core elements that make us different to what's out there in the market today. The first one would be our machine learned whole market view. We discussed that earlier in the conversation as well. But again, that approach is fundamentally different to anything else that you'll see in the market at the moment. So with the machine learning, we go far deeper, broader, far more categories than anyone else in the market, but the whole market view is dedicated to you, your domain. So it's a unique view on your competitive landscape. Mm-hmm. The next piece I would say is the data categorization with that. So where we come in and collect that data from the SERP on paid search is how we organize that data in a way that's relevant to you. Again, so groupings and taxonomy is really key here because you need to get to the actionable groups that are influencing your market. So if you're a retailer and Macy's have just started bidding on Levi's 501 jeans, you need to know, okay? The third piece I would say is the anomaly detection. So the parallels that we would draw here is if you're familiar with stock and trading platforms and things like that, the science and data that goes behind that brings you very close to the market. So again, it's no different to our platform. So something like Smart Monitor, which is a key feature of ours, brings you far closer to anything that's changing on your landscape so you can react accordingly. So again, we're finding that's really driving a lot of value for our digital marketers in bringing them closer to what's important to them and what's changing. The fourth piece I would say is, we care a lot about our customers, and every challenge is different, whether that be automotive, tech, retail, travel, finance, whatever the domain is. We're only going to be a successful partner if we can solve those problems for you. So every case is different. And then the final piece is the human element here. We've spoken a lot about machine learning and AI, but with our customer success representatives, we really drive a lot of value there. And that's the human piece that helps you get value out of platforms like ours. Outstanding.
We always ask our guests, is there a book, a blog, or a podcast that you'd like to share with our viewers?
Sure. First and foremost, I think any good CEO should bring you a lot of good ideas, and it's no different at Adthena. And I think with Ian O'Rourke, he reads a ridiculous amount of books. So there's a lot of management that come down the line that we read about. But for me, I spend a lot of time listening to podcasts on Sastra. So I find that a really good resource. I find it quite challenging to find other peers and VPs in SaaS today to grow my network, so I often find people there. Books, I have quite a dry sense of humour, so I like anything by John Ronson, is very funny as well. So again, I don't want to live, breathe, eat, sleep SaaS all the time. I need to find a balance there.
Good. Yeah. Thank you. My guest today has been Ashley Fletcher, Vice President of Marketing at Ad Dena. Ashley, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.